Is everybody ready for the big one? Because this week, I'm pulling out all the stops. That's right, folks. It's old school meets new school. It's analytical meets entertaining. It is the Super Bowl. It is the AFC versus the NFC. It's the single biggest game of the year. Justin, BridgewatersFinest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. You've been watching me talk about these teams all year, and now it's finally come down to 1 versus 1. The last game for everything. The Lombardi Trophy is on the line in New Jersey as Super Bowl XLVIII features the AFC champion Denver Broncos, the NFC champion Seattle Seahawks, and one game to rule them all. Let's face it here, folks. This is the Super Bowl we all wanted. Whether we knew we wanted it or not, this was the game. This was the one that everybody wanted. The best offense in the league versus the best defense in the league. The best team in the AFC versus the best team in the NFC. This is Pro Wrestling 101, baby. The biggest show of the year. Best fights best from beautiful MetLife Stadium, true neutral field, as you have an AFC and an NFC team that play in that building. Before we get into talking about this one game for all the marbles, let me just hit you with my numbers thus far in the playoff season. I've had a pretty successful playoffs, and if you've been following my picks, so have you. 18, 11, and 1 straight up against the spread and over-under. Straight up, very, very good record of 7 and 3, hitting that 70% mark that we all look for. Over-under, 6 and 4, not too bad. Against the spread, 5, 4, and 1. I'll take that. It's a 500 record, a little bit above. So I'm going to take all those, 18, 11, and 1. Hopefully you've been following my picks. And hopefully you've been blowing up Gio DeFranco's YouTube page and Twitter page, voting for me for Most Entertaining Football Prognosticator in the Gio Knows Awards. Links will be in the description below. Make 100% sure you get on there. Vote for Bridgewater's Finest as Most Entertaining Football Prognosticator. You know I've brought it every single week this year. Without further ado, folks, let's talk about Super Bowl XLVIII. And when you start talking about a game like this, there's only one place to go. You got to look at each team individually, take a look at where they've been to tell you where they're going. We'll start in the AFC, where the number 1 ranked Denver Broncos at 15 and 3 represent the American Football Conference. Denver scored a 13 and 3 regular season record and rode win streaks of 6, 3, 2, and their current win streak of 4. They won the AFC West and have beaten San Diego by 7 points and New England by 10 points in the playoffs. They have 5 Pro Bowlers, 4 Associated Press All-Pros, and in the regular season ranked as the league's best offense, finishing first in total points scored, plays from scrimmage, total yards, yards per play, and first downs. However, they only rated an even 0 in turnover ratio and had the 4th most fumbles in the league, losing a league-high 16. Defensively, Denver rated in the bottom 20 in the league in points allowed, 19th in yards allowed, and allowed the 6th most first downs. In the playoffs, Denver's defense has greatly improved, second only to Seattle in points allowed per game and second only to New Orleans in yards allowed per game. Offensively, the Broncos have slowed from their record-setting regular season pace, but still rank top 5 in per-game playoff scoring, have run the 2nd most plays from scrimmage, and are a playoff best 62% efficient on 3rd down, second only to Kansas City in time of possession. Flipping to the NFC now, the number 1 ranked Seattle Seahawks at an identical 15 and 3 represent the National Football Conference. Seattle scored an identical 13 and 3 regular season record to the Broncos and rode win streaks of 4, 7, and their current streak of 3. They won the NFC West and have beaten New Orleans by 8 and San Francisco by 6 in the playoffs. They have 6 Pro Bowlers, 3 Associated Press All-Pros, and in the regular season ranked as the league's best defense, finishing first in total points allowed, total yards allowed, and yards against per play, giving up just the 6th fewest plays from scrimmage against. The Seahawks defense was penalty prone, committing 98 defensive penalties for the 12th most yards against. and being the most penalized offensive team in football, committing 128 offensive penalties for a league-worst 1,183 yards against. Despite that, the Seahawks were a top 10 offense in 2013 in terms of total points, despite running the fourth fewest offensive plays, efficiently running the third fewest third down plays, and attempting a mere 11 fourth down plays. The Seahawks also boast a league-best plus 20 turnover ratio. In the playoffs, the Seahawks offense has been comparatively quiet, averaging middle of the pack in points scored and yards per game, averaging the fewest first downs per game. They remain among the most penalized teams, committing the second most penalties on both sides of the ball, but remain the best defense in the playoffs from a points scored standpoint. So that's what we got, folks. Denver in the AFC, Seattle in the NFC. It's still more than a week before the game, but I am in Super Bowl mode. It's been on my mind constantly, and I am gearing, getting set, getting ready for this game. It's going to be a great one. The weather in this game probably does appear that it will play at least some kind of a role, as temperatures are going to be hovering right around the 30-degree mark come kickoff, and a 90% chance of at least some snow, though they're not expecting a lot. The big thing here is going to be the temperature. That is a cold game for both of these quarterbacks. Peyton Manning, historically, not the greatest in cold weather, so we're going to have to see how that affects him and everyone else in this game. But in a sea of innocuous statistics, here's one of the most obscure. The game is being played on synthetic turf. That may seem like nothing, but a little something for you to consider. It's worth noting Denver plays all of their home games on real grass. They only played 4 games on turf this year. In those games, they were only 2-2, with losses to Indianapolis and New England. Now, Seattle plays all their home games on field turf. They're used to it. A fantastic home team. They're used to playing on field turf. Make of that what you will. Might be worth noting. Probably not, but you might want to take it into consideration. And these two teams have not met since 2010, a 31-14 Denver victory in Denver that boasted a quarterback matchup of Kyle Orton versus Matt Hasselbeck. Now in that game, the Seahawks' leading rusher was Justin Forsett. Don't even know if he's in the league anymore. And their most targeted receiver was tight end John Carlson. Also, don't even know if he's in the league anymore. Now, that was also a game where Matt Hasselbeck threw 3 interceptions, and the Seahawks did not have 1 interception on defense, and they only sacked Kyle Orton 1 time. On Denver's side of the ball, Knowshon Moreno and Demaryius Thomas both featured prominently in that game. Demaryius Thomas putting up 8 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown, while Moreno racked up 118 all-purpose yards and added a touchdown of his own. Of course, on that same day, Atlanta scored 41 points. The Jets doubled up the Patriots, and the Tampa Bay versus Carolina game went the exact opposite to the way you would think it would go today. Plus, Houston won a game. So the moral here, times change. Before we get into my picks, I'm going to give you the one piece of advice that no one that is giving you betting picks is going to tell you. There are no smart plays in the Super Bowl. Especially not in a game like this. These two teams are both elite. They've both got playmakers on both sides of the football. They both have redemption stories. They both feel like they've got something to prove. So smart plays, there are none here. There are coin flips, and that is the best that you are going to get. That being said, let's get into how I think the coin's going to fall. In this game, the Denver Broncos are considered the quote-unquote home team. I'm not 100% sure how they established that, but in any case, Denver is favored by 2 points as the quote-unquote home team. The total number here is 47. So that's where we'll start, I think. We'll start with that number of 47. Originally, I really wanted to take the under here. I thought the under was almost a shoo-in given the weather. I'm actually going to tell you to go over. Now, neither of these teams are playing very well offensively. Denver's starting to look like they can actually play defense, even though both of their playoff games were at home. And 15 of these two teams' combined last 20 games have all gone under, 7 of those 15 going under 47. Plus, all 4 of these two teams' playoff games have gone under 47 points. And it's the biggest professional stage in the world. Nobody wants to be that guy that makes that one play in the playoffs that causes his team to give up points, run a big score up, and potentially lose them the Super Bowl. But hear me out on this. My only justification for this is the fact that no one has home field advantage in this game. This is pretty much considered a road game for both of these teams, and if anything has been proven with these two teams on the road this year, their defenses do not tend to play as well, while their offenses tend to play a little bit better. So 10 of the 16 combined road games for these two teams this year have gone over 47 points. 10 out of 16 is not a great percentage, but it is better than 50-50. And even despite all those mitigating factors, I'm going to tell you, I'm going with my most prodigious gut, which has served me fairly well through the playoffs so far. I'm going to tell you to take over that 47-point total. So here we go, folks. Who's going to win? What's going to happen on the spread? What's the final score going to be? And who's going to win the MVP? Here it comes. That line, Denver -2. This game is essentially a pick'em, 2 points either way. Gotta tell you something. Gut feeling at the beginning of the year was that the NFC was the better conference than the AFC. While I of course note that the AFC won the Super Bowl last year with the Baltimore Ravens and boasted the Denver Broncos, who probably at the beginning of the season were a lot of people's sexy picks to make it here out of the AFC, I honestly thought the NFC overall has the better teams. And after much soul searching, I made the decision that I have to stay true to what my gut told me at the beginning of the year. Therefore, I am predicting that the Seattle Seahawks will defeat the Denver Broncos in Super Bowl XLVIII to become the Super Bowl champions. Therefore, against the spread, of course, I like Seattle +2. You're going to give me the 2 points. I'm going to take those 2 points. Seattle +2 on the line. If you're looking for a final score, Seattle 29, Denver 24. In this game, Stephen Hauschka will kick 5, count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 field goals. And Marshawn Lynch will score a late touchdown in the fourth quarter to give the Seahawks the lead, and they will never look back. That touchdown by Lynch, by the way, will be his second on the game and will wrap him up the Super Bowl XLVIII MVP. 31 touches, 120 all-purpose yards between rushing and receiving, and those 2 touchdowns. Marshawn Lynch will become the 7th ever running back and the first since Denver's Terrell Davis in 1998 to win the MVP from the running back position. Here's the bottom line here, folks. Denver has arguably the best offense in professional football history. But I firmly believe, in my heart of hearts, I firmly believe that it is defense that wins championships. I believe the Seahawks are an opportunistic team, especially on defense, and I think that will cause them to cause at least 1 fumble from either Noshawn Moreno or Monte Ball, if both of them play, and Peyton will be picked off at least once by that Legion of Boom secondary. And at that point, all Russell Wilson has to do is manage the game, cut the field in half, and put points on the board. And I think that is what he's going to do. Marshawn Lynch, their biggest game player on offense, comes up with 2 touchdowns, probably 1 through the air, 1 on the ground. Maybe he gets both on the ground. But Marshawn Lynch comes through. He is the MVP of this game. And the Seattle Seahawks go back to Seattle with the Lombardi Trophy, winning the Super Bowl. That's how I see it, folks, but you know what? That's just me. Everybody else has their opinion on exactly how this game is going to go. A lot of people are on Denver. 70% of the betting line among experts and fan consensus are on the Denver Broncos. If you're on the Denver Broncos, tell me why. I want you to show your work on this one. Get down in the comments section below. Tell me why you think the Denver Broncos win the Super Bowl. You think Seattle's going to win the Super Bowl like me? Tell me how you think it's going to happen. Tell me why you think Seattle wins the Super Bowl. You know how I'm going. The Seattle Seahawks 29-24 victors over the Denver Broncos to win Super Bowl XLVIII in MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. That's it for me, Justin, Bridgewater's Finest on YouTube, Blockbuster_guy on Twitter. Ladies and gentlemen, that's another season of football. I have loved bringing this season of football to you. I love all the support that I've gotten on my videos this year. Of course, for my Geo Knows Award nomination for Most Entertaining Prognosticator, hit him up on YouTube and Twitter. vote for Bridgewater's Finest as most entertaining prognosticator. Get on there. You know you want to do that. Make me happy. Get me one of those beautiful Geo Nose trophies. That's it for me for another season. Enjoy the Super Bowl next week. It's going to be a great game. We're all going to love it. It's the way football should be played, best on best. We will see you again next year.